Most people kill their plants with water, not with neglect, and the worst part, they don't even realize they're doing it. Today I'm going to show you the 7 biggest watering mistakes that silently destroy your plants and exactly how to fix each one. These tips apply to houseplants, herbs, vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, everything. By the end of this video, you will know how to water correctly, how to read your soil, and how to prevent root rot forever. Let's start. Mistake number 1. Overwatering is the single most common reason houseplants die, and most people don't even realize they're doing it. The problem is not the water itself, but the fact that roots need both moisture and oxygen to stay healthy. When the soil stays wet for too long, the air pockets inside it collapse and the roots begin to suffocate. Once that happens, the plant can no longer take up nutrients, even if the soil is full of them. That's why overwatered plants often look strangely dehydrated even though the soil is soaked. The leaves may start to droop, turn yellow, or fall off from the bottom up. The plant begins to decline slowly, and most people respond by adding even more water, which only accelerates root rot. Fixing this starts with understanding that every plant dries out at a different speed. Light, temperature, pot size, soil mix, and even the season all affect how quickly water evaporates. Instead of watering on a fixed schedule, the best approach is to check the soil before you water. Press your finger a couple of centimeters into the mix. If it still feels damp, wait. If it feels dry, then it's time to water deeply until excess water drains out the bottom of the pot. Allow the soil to dry appropriately between waterings so the roots can breathe again. If your plant is already showing symptoms of overwatering, you may need to remove it from the pot and inspect the roots. Healthy roots are firm and white or light tan. Rotting roots are soft, brown, and may have a foul smell. Trim away anything that looks damaged, repot the plant into fresh, well-draining soil, and reduce watering while it recovers. Overwatering is rarely about caring too much. It's about not paying attention to how the plant actually behaves. Once you learn to read the soil instead of relying on habit, you'll prevent most watering problems before they ever begin. Mistake number 2. Watering on a fixed schedule. Most people water their plants the same day every week, thinking it creates consistency. But plants don't follow calendars. They respond to temperature, light, humidity, and the size of their pot. When you water on a fixed schedule, sooner or later you'll water at a moment when the soil is still wet. And that's when the trouble begins. Constant moisture removes oxygen from the root zone, and the roots slowly suffocate. You may not notice it immediately, but the plant will start to show pale leaves, slow growth, and eventually root rot. The correct approach is simple. Never water based on the date. Water based on the soil. Always check before you water. Stick your finger into the soil, lift the pot to feel the weight, or use a moisture meter if you want more accuracy. Only add water when the top layer has dried out, or for some plants, when the pot feels noticeably lighter. This one habit will dramatically reduce overwatering problems and keep your plants healthier for longer. Mistake number 3. Using pots without drainage. One of the fastest ways to damage a plant is putting it in a pot with no drainage holes. When water has nowhere to escape, the soil stays wet for far too long. And when the soil stays wet, the roots have no access to oxygen. They begin to suffocate, weaken, and eventually rot. Many people think they can avoid this by simply watering less, but even careful watering can't compensate for a pot that traps moisture at the bottom. A pot without drainage turns into a stagnant environment. Salts from fertilizers build up, harmful bacteria develop, and the roots sit in water they can't escape from. You might notice yellow leaves, soft stems, or a plant that stops growing entirely. These are all early signs of root stress caused by poor drainage. The fix is simple. Always choose pots with drainage holes. If you really like decorative pots that don't have any, use them only as outer covers. Keep the plant in a plastic nursery pot inside. When you water, take the inner pot out, Let the excess water drain completely and then put it back in place. This one habit alone can dramatically improve plant health and prevent root rot before it even starts. Mistake number 4. Letting water sit on leaves. Letting water sit on the leaves of your plants may seem harmless, but it's one of the most common causes of fungal diseases, bacterial spots, and leaf burn. When water droplets stay on the leaf surface, they act like tiny magnifying lenses under strong light, causing scorch marks. And even indoors, where light is softer, the moisture trapped on the leaf creates the perfect environment for funguses and harmful bacteria to spread. Over time, you'll notice yellow circles, brown spots, or soft patches that slowly expand. Many people think this comes from pests or poor nutrition, but in reality, it often starts from simple water sitting on the foliage. To avoid this, always water at the base of the plant, directly into the soil. Keep the leaves as dry as possible, especially during the evening when the plant will not dry quickly. If you accidentally splash the foliage, gently shake the plant or wipe the droplets off with your fingers. If your plant already has leaf spots from moisture, remove the damaged areas so the infection doesn't spread. Improve airflow around the plant and make sure you are watering early in the day, giving the foliage time to dry naturally. Keeping water off the leaves is a small habit, but it dramatically reduces the chance of disease and keeps your plant's foliage clean, healthy, and vibrant. Mistake number 5. Using the wrong soil mix. Using the wrong soil mix is one of the most silent plant killers. Most people don't even realize that soil is not just dirt. It's a full ecosystem, and choosing the wrong type can completely suffocate your plant or starve it of water. Dense, heavy soil holds too much moisture. When roots can't breathe, they begin to rot, even if you're watering correctly. On the other hand, a soil mix that is too light and sandy drains so quickly that your plant never gets the chance to hydrate properly. Both extremes lead to weak growth, yellowing leaves, and long-term stress that the plant may never fully recover from. Every plant needs the right balance of drainage, aeration, and water retention. Houseplants like pothos, monstera, and philodendron prefer a chunky mix with perlite, bark, and peat or cocoa coir. Succulents and cacti require extremely fast-draining soil with added sand or grit. And outdoor plants, especially vegetables, need soil rich in organic matter so the roots can anchor and absorb nutrients efficiently. The fix is simple. Match the soil to the plant's natural environment. If your plant is tropical, use an airy mix. If it's a desert plant, use a gritty one. If it's a fruiting or flowering plant, choose soil rich in compost. When in doubt, start by improving drainage and adding ingredients that keep air pockets in the soil. Good soil alone can transform a struggling plant into a thriving one. Mistake number 6. Watering from above instead of at the base. Watering from above may look harmless, but it creates several problems. When water constantly splashes the leaves, it increases the risk of fungal diseases, leaf spots, and even sunburn if the plant sits in strong light. It also wastes water because much of it evaporates before reaching the roots. Most importantly, top watering often encourages shallow roots. The plant keeps its roots near the surface because that's where the moisture stays, making it weaker and less drought tolerant. The fix is simple. Always water at the base of the plant, directly into the soil. Let the water slowly soak in so it reaches the root zone where it's actually needed. If the leaves get wet accidentally, gently shake them off or wipe away excess moisture. Switching to base watering dramatically improves root strength, reduces disease issues, and helps your plant develop deeper, healthier root systems. Mistake number 7. Not adjusting watering to the season. Many people water their plants the same way all year long, and this is one of the biggest reasons plants decline without any obvious symptoms. Plants do not use water at the same rate in summer and winter. In warm, bright months, plants grow faster, transpire more, and dry out more quickly. But in the colder, darker months, their growth slows dramatically. The soil stays wet for much longer, and the plant's water demand drops by as much as 50 to 70%. If you keep watering in winter the same way you do in summer, the roots will sit in cold, wet soil for far too long. That creates the perfect environment for rot, funguses, and nutrient imbalance. On the other hand, during peak summer heat, watering too little can dehydrate the plant fast, leading to curling leaves, brown edges, and stalled growth. The fix is simple. Always adjust your watering to the season. In winter, wait longer between waterings, check the soil more carefully, and make sure the plant is getting enough light so it can actually use the water you give it. In summer, expect to water more frequently, especially if your plant is near a sunny window or outside in containers. Matching your watering to the plant's seasonal needs is one of the easiest ways to prevent hidden stress and keep your plants thriving year-round. If you recognize any of these mistakes in your own plant care routine, don't worry. Every single one of them is easy to fix once you understand what's happening. Mastering watering is the fastest way to transform struggling plants into healthy, consistent growers. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more practical plant care lessons that actually make a difference.